Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, April 29th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly swing trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names from our watch list, stocks that are holding up well, showing some relative strength, ideally are not yet too extended in their moves. As always, these videos are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We curate ideas from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So we got 5 names we're going to be looking at today. Do have some short or some hesitation or some short ideas that I'm going to talk about myself. And then we have, I guess, 4 individual stocks on the long side. So let's start with the long. Let's start with the long ideas, and we're going to start with IBD's stocks here, and this is GSX. This is the first name coming from IBD's watch list, and this is a familiar name. We talked about this back here when it was consolidating, and we were sort of showcasing the great performance this has had since it's become public in 2019, trading just under all-time highs. Really sort of ignored a lot of the market downdraft in the first quarter, and we talked about this potential breakout candidate here, but ultimately that trigger never happened. That breakout never happened. We in fact rolled over. We got as low as about $28, and now you can see excuse me, that we have lifted off of the lows. So we essentially now have kind of the lows here that we made a couple weeks ago. We put in a higher low here earlier this week, or I guess really on Friday of last week, and you can see we've now broken over this sort of resistance area, kind of the bottom end of coinciding with the bottom end of this range here. So good progress after rolling over. Maybe this was a good shakeout here for the rest of the long candidates or the interested longs that were looking to buy this breakout. So we got a series of higher lows in place. We're working ourselves back up here. I mean, of course, we haven't broken out yet, so we still really need to get it back over, 43.50, depending on how, aggressive of an entry you want to be. Maybe you start a position here, maybe you add to it up here, and you're in full size when it breaks the new all-time highs. I'm not here to really formulate your own trading strategy, but that at least gives you some ideas of how to think about a name like this. So GSX, still one of my favorite names out there, good relative strength candidate, and looking strong here as it works itself off recent lows. Number 2 is Netflix. I don't want to spend too much time here because this is certainly a widely talked about name, but I think it's interesting that, earnings are out of the way. It's starting to pull back, and I think this is where, again, you throw on this weekly chart, and this is really for, I guess, the longer term trend followers, and you can certainly be a shorter term swing trader as well, but you got to ask yourself if you like Netflix here, if you believe in this 3-year or 2.5-year base that this has moved sideways in, you're kind of retesting this breakout area now. So we overshot, we broke to new all-time highs. It reported earnings, and now we're kind of pulling back here to the prior highs from 2018. So this is a spot to certainly take notice now of Netflix. You got a little bit of a pullback off of highs, and again, you can sort of ask yourself if you believe in this name, you believe in the breakout here. It's an area that you should be paying attention to. So NFLX, that's number 2, and third from IBD's watch list is Applied Materials. This is one we haven't talked about. This is sort of a new name here, and I mean, what I like about it, so you can see it's certainly off of all-time highs. It did suffer quite a good size pullback here in the first quarter, about 46%. So no joke on the amount of volatility and pullback it saw. But what I do like here is that there's some sort of clear structure and order that has sort of developed here off of the lows. So we had the ultimate lows back here from early March around 37. We drove higher, and then we pulled back, put in a higher low around 42, and then we sort of pushed higher again, and we carved out some some support here around $49. And I just like this orderly action here, right? From a trader's perspective, there's just lots of levels to manage risk against, and just to sort of know where trends change. So for me, AMAT, trying to break out now, trying to resolve this consolidation to the upside, higher low area around 48.50 or so. So to me, it's an interesting sort of actionable name you can pay attention to. So that's number 3 from IBD's watch list. Now we're going going to look at one long idea from our watch list, and then look at some ideas here on the short side. So SAFE. So this comes from our watch list in-house, and you can see, so safe hold here has been, if you zoom out, has been a extremely strong performer over the course of the past year and a half or so, rallying from the mid-teens all the way up to 60. So a huge move for this particular name. And if you look closer here, this is still in a very wide pattern here, so there's still lots of volatility. Maybe this is like a larger triangle here where you can see higher lows, lower highs being put in, and you can see we're kind of testing the upper end. It still has much to prove, right? It still needs to get sort of that breakout confirmation, but SAFE, this is a name certainly I don't see too many people talking about, and it's acting well here and has been an extremely strong performer over the past year or so. So SAFE, take a look at that. That comes from our watch list. Now, what I do want to talk about here on the short side is again, for those of you who have followed for a while, I don't like, or I just don't have any strategies that short individual stocks. So what I prefer to do is usually short the indices or sector ETFs outright if, excuse me, if I want to express any short exposure. And, I don't know that I necessarily want to express short exposure here. But what I just want to make a comment on is I think we're starting to see, and again, a lot of personal opinion here and subjectivity, but starting to see a little bit of froth kind of coming into this market, a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of chasing action. I think this is the first real time. We've been overbought in here a few times that we've talked about for some tactical short opportunities, but it's starting to see a little bit of froth. I think the IWM is sort of what really showcases that today. You can see kind of going, a little bit parabolic here over the past 5 or so trading sessions. And there's plenty of arguments for why that can be the case. These were the most beaten up areas, so we're starting to see more, kind of rotation into this area of the market. But these were beaten up for pretty good reasons. And now that we're seeing kind of day 5, 6 here, really stretching 15% over the past few sessions, this is where you're starting to see some signs of perhaps some short-term climactic action here. And some chasers, and we are coming into month end, so we do have some potential rebalancing flows going on right now, and certainly we have earnings season, so there's a lot to think about here. But I'd say in the short term, again, I just want to be cautious. I want to preach a little bit of caution here in all of the major indices. Buying any individual stock here, 35% run, pretty much no pullback. Maybe it's warranted, maybe it's not, but again, you have to just be diligent and sort of know the risks that you have in front of you. So as much as I like all of these long names that we just talked about, you just have to make sure you're trading them with a plan in mind, with risk management in place, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that helps. A few names out there on the long side, and a couple of, words of wisdom on chasing here in the short term for this market. So that's it for me. Every Wednesday, trade ideas just like this. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel or follow us at The Trade Risk. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here on Friday for the market recap video.